Okay, this is Buddhism A-level. This is 3.2 at Excel. Mahayana, this is lesson 4 or 5, and this is part 5 now. Yogacara, the third of the 3 schools of early Indian Buddhology, but now we are getting very late in the day. And this school, it's been labelled Buddha Nature School. Tathagata Garbha is Buddha nature. And it's a school associated especially with this idea, but it's not an idea that is alone to this school. It is an idea that you find in other schools. But importantly, Tathagata Garbha states that one is primordially awakened. Awakened. So the thinking is this: if the 3 truth or the 2 truth mean that nirvana doesn't exist, samsara doesn't exist, and that in a way nirvana is samsara is nirvana or nibbana, then nirvana pervades samsara pervades nirvana. That all beings and all points in the universe are connected and interconnected and Buddha suffused. Now this is hard to get your head around. The analogy I can get to is a hologram. In a hologram, at every point of the hologram, the whole of the hologram is present. It's holon meric, as it were, is the idea, I guess. All is Buddha is the claim. All is Buddha, because of the third, of the ultimate truth. Okay. The Tathagata Garbha Sutra, of which is central to this, is considered, quote, the earliest expression of this Tathagata Garbha doctrine. And the term Tathagata Garbha itself seems to have been coined in this very sutra. So the sutra was the product of the school, but the school is the sutra, as it were. And we can see here this idea illustrated as Indra's net, often a way of depicting this belief. The origin, the development of the sutra and the school, Tathagata Garbha, is in a very particular place. That the doctrine developed within a sect of Buddhism. Is it Mahayana? Is it Theravada? Well, it's a very early, perhaps, sect of Mahayana. Now notice the place. It's not northwest where Nagarjuna was. It's southeast, and this is important. It's developing along, but it's still not at Sri Lanka. You've got Theravada developing in Sri Lanka. You've got Madhyamaka developing in the north west, and about this time you have this Buddha Nature School that ceased to exist, but its text continued to be very influential, and so that's why it's difficult. The region we call the Andhra region, and it's one of the Chitaka schools. So it developed after the 3rd century CE, but it didn't last forever. This group wrote a number of Tathagata Garbha or Buddha Nature Sutras, each unequivocally declaring the reality of the awakened essence within each of us, the Buddha nature within each of us. We actually don't have the text of the Tathagata Garbha Sutra in its original language. All we have is 2 preserved versions in Tibetan and in Chinese of this Masasamgika branch of Buddhism. One Buddhist scholar says, John Busher says, for the Mahasamgika branch of Buddhism, the final and ultimate meaning of the Buddha's teaching was beyond words, and words were merely the conventional exposition of Dharma. So, very influential. It is preserved In the Tibetan tradition, it's seen as foundational to Tibetan ideas of primordial awareness and Tibetan practice, and also in China in aspects of Chan Buddhism. We've mentioned these before, but there are 9 pictures, 9 similes in the Tathagata Sutra. The first describes this fantastic scene, and then there are 8 similes illustrate how the indwelling Buddha is in all sentient beings, but is hidden by our negative mental states, our kelses. So it's compared to the honey protected by the bees, the kernels enclosed by their husks in wheat, a gold nugget in excrement, that's very nice, a hidden treasure beneath a house, a sprout in the seed of becoming a huge tree, a Tathagata image wrapped in rotten rags, a Krakya Vartan in the womb of the despised orphan woman, i.e. a king, and a golden figure in a buried clay mould. So that's this school of Tathagata Garbha Sutra, the Buddha nature school. It arose, it dissolved. Its continuing influence is in Tibet and in part in China. That would lead to aspects of Zen Buddhism.